All right, this is the Q Afternoon Show, and all day today and the rest of the week we're giving away tickets to the 5440 show. 5440 and the Grapes of Wrath show is Friday night. It's not a sellout yet, but we're kind of teasing you with some tickets. And as promised, straight from Yogaland, Neil Osborne of 5440. Thanks for coming in, Neil.
Well, thanks for having me.
I've talked to Brad Merritt several times.
Mm-hmm.
And never have talked to you. And I've been in radio, I guess, 15 years or so. It's a lot of times it's, well, let's get the drummer to talk. Neil's out doing something.
Yeah. Wow.
So thanks for coming in.
After all these years, yeah, no worries.
Yeah, right on. So you have a history with Grapes of Wrath. You guys played a kind of a, I was talking to Jason Lamb, my buddy from over at The Zone. He said he was at the show in 87 that you guys did for Amnesty at the Royal Theatre. Must have been around 87.
It was 25 years ago. This is why we're doing this. It was 25 years ago at the Royal with Grapes of Wrath. It was a Amnesty International benefit and a Much Music Big Ticket. So you can probably go on YouTube and find footage of us much younger.
Yeah.
So anybody that was at that show, you should come back because it's going to be relived. And we're actually trying to get Terry David Mulligan to come up and introduce the bands because he was the host of that show at the same time.
TDM was he did Much West a lot of times, didn't he? So you guys would be on the show for the Much West part. And
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. Yeah.
1987, the return to the Royal Theatre with 5440. You didn't bring your guitar, so we're not going to hear you play anything. Maybe a cappella?
Well, we do have these things called records in lieu of.
That's right. Neil Osborne here on the Q Afternoon Show. There's 5440, Baby Have Some Faith, and Neil Osborne from 5440 on the Q Afternoon Show right now. The show Friday night at the Royal Theatre with Grapes of Wrath. And Neil, your website, the 5440 website banner says it all. Mining for gold since 1981.
There you go.
What's the secret to your band's longevity? I mean, this is phenomenal how long you guys been kicking around, but still coming up with great stuff. What's the secret?
I don't know what the secret is because we have never broken up. I guess that's the secret. Don't break up. I mean, I guess... for us, it was always about chemistry. Brad and I started this out of high school, and then we really didn't know how to play. But I was a little bit better than him, so he became the bass player. No offense to bass players out there. And, we just grabbed people to be in the band that we knew we could be in a van with for 2 months at a stretch, sleeping in the van kind of thing. So that's kind of worked.
Yeah. Matt, the amount of radio songs that you guys have written, Baby Ran, One Gun, Ocean Pearl, Music Man, Miss You, Lies to Me. Is there a certain way that you work, that you come up with hooks and lyrics? Is there a way you like to get into that groove to be a channel to that kind of music?
I can't say specifically other than, it's just sort of whatever resonates. If it sounds like it's a hooky thing, then we'll keep working it and make it catchy, and either we get bored with it or we really get off on playing it. And if it ends up with the latter, then we'll take it to where we can.
Yeah. It must be something in your genes you pass along because you have musical daughters now, don't you?
I have, yes. Yeah.
What are they working on right now? Every once in a while I'll see the Osborne name.
Well, actually it's just one right now, the youngest. She's just under her own name, Candle, with a K. And she's in Montreal. And she's got a bunch of new songs. She released an EP in the spring, which did quite well. A lot of buzz, and did a little tour of Europe, and working on an album right now. Yeah.
I've always wondered, you've been around since 1981, at least with 5440. What kind of advice would you give your daughter or any young musician seeing the music biz through till today? A totally different game than it was 30 years ago. What would you recommend?
Just like I was when I was that age, they don't take advice. They know everything. Kids these days, they think they know everything. It's tough out there, I can tell you that much. Going after a record deal, I don't know of any record companies that have a lot, like they used to. I mean, we talk about gold, guts, and glory. We come from golden era of record companies when, you know, CDs were in their prime and people were buying the things. Nowadays, there's not even a CD store around.
I know.
Yeah.
And just really in the past 5 years, that part of the business has changed. Like,
yeah.
Want to get the latest CD? Oh,
yeah.
geez,
So we'll have been
go?
a band that have seen, you know, the coming of CDs and the going. You know, I'm sure we'll release records in some fashion, I guess, digitally, when kids won't even know what a CD is.
It's crazy. I'm sure you answered this a lot in the 90s with Hootie and the Blowfish. How did they find your song "I Go Blind"? Totally forgotten about that.
They were fans of the band when we used to do the circuit down in it's from like Washington D.C. down through North Carolina, Missouri into Georgia. There's a little sort of a circuit that you would do, and they were all going to the University of North Carolina, and they had a little cover band. So they would do our songs. They did like 3 or 4 of our songs. They did REM songs. They did, you know, all those sort of bands of the time. And I guess they kept doing "I Go Blind," you know, right through.
Wow.
So 10 years later, they released it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So have you guys kept your publishing and all that? Like, you still get paid for every time Hootie plays down in the States?
Yep.
Nice job.
Yeah, it worked out well.
Yeah. With a fairly straight face, you say that. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, the big show is Friday, 5440 and Grapes of Wrath. You can win tickets tonight after 6 from Steph Pound on the queue. And we heard from Ron, who bought a dog crate off of Neil 7 years ago on used Victoria. Victoria is this small of a town. You can hear from the guy who bought something off you on used Victoria.
There you go. Yeah, it's a good little website.
Right on. Thanks a lot for stopping by.
Okay.
And Friday night, we're ready to see a Gold, Guts, and Glory.
You bet.
Love it. This is the Q Afternoon Show. Thanks, Neil Osborne.
Okay.
This is the Island's Hurrah.